So I invite you to join me today as we delve into a later 5-digit Pacific, and these all have the later barrel style commutator for the motor. They all have the 2-step reverse unit, and they all come with a different set of criteria. Today on Austin's American Flyer. I hope you enjoy. Before us are, well, it's a story of two sisters, actually, two sister engines. These are both the class of 21085 Pacifics. This particular series ran from 1958 up through 1964. There are quite a few different variations that are listed in Doyle's book, I think 5, and then I've come across at least one that's not in his book. Because it's one of these shells that has no number on it. So I don't know if following the demise of Flyer or if during repairs it was possible to get a shell with no number on it that happened to be one of these types of shells that was used for repairs or rebuilds or new engines. I don't know. But I think there's quite a few variants of these out there. And here's kind of a quick recap. Starting in 58, which actually this engine up here is an example of this. This is called a Type 1. It has die-cast drivers, has traction tires, 2-stage or 2-step reverse unit. It has the more innate trailing truck, which all of them did. It has sintered iron, tender truck frames, and a working knuckle coupler. Has choo-choo, smoke, and headlight. As you proceed through the variations, they start going to plastic drivers, and some of the variants had no paint on them, or some of them had only paint on the first and the third, but not the metal driver. You got into tenders that had variations of the couplings and sintered. This one has sintered side frames, but a plastic non-working coupler on it. This also happens to have a non-correct tender shell. At least this is not one that's listed. This one's also missing the trailing truck. This one also has had a pretty rough life. I found lots of evidence internally of rewiring. Screws are mismatched or wrong. The posts in the shell are broken and glued and fixed, and after all of that, I did some work on it. I got it running, but it just doesn't run very well. It's it's got a lot of character, which it makes it kind of fun, but it just doesn't run very well. It's hard to keep it from tripping into the opposite direction. The lever lock on it vibrates down. The pickups in the tender, I worked on those a little bit, but I think they tend to float and lose contact with the tender axles. One of the drive wheels on the engine, I don't know if it was melted or scuff damage, but there's part of the flange that's barely there. This side I actually touched up the white on it because it was worn off so much. Now it still goes down the track. These are wide radius curves and it seems to handle them okay. I don't know what it would do on traditional Flyer curves. Somebody put this tender on here that, again, it's not the right tender for it, or shell at least, and they spray painted over the American Flyer line. So I took a Q-tip and some alcohol just to try to get the white to come through a little bit, but obviously it doesn't look very good. And it's just rough. Like I said, I can get it to run, but you know, to get it to run at a decent speed, I'm pushing 15 volts on it. So there's something going on with the motor. When I checked the field and the armature, they both checked out within specs, but it acts like it's got a lot of resistance. So probably I need to take it back over the bench for about the 5th time and try to dig into it, see if I can figure out, you know, what is it now. I've also taken the reverse unit apart probably 4 times trying to get that cleaned up and working correctly. It's got one of the tabs that's missing or broken off at some point, so it doesn't fit like it should. It vibrates around. It's noisy. It just is not a great piece of equipment. Contrast that to the one that's in front. That one cleaned up easily. The shell is just about mint on it. The writing, lettering, everything on it's bright and crisp. It's got zero or almost, I can't hardly find any scratches on it. When I took it apart, I could tell that the screws had never been removed from the shell. There's zero damage. They kind of pop when you take them loose, like they're factory fresh, if you will. Everything inside was clean and untampered with. All the wiring's original. That thing was just joy. I mean, it took some lubrication. It was real dry. It's been sitting for a long time unrun. It's not to say it didn't have any run time on it, but it had very little. So it took some lubrication. I added an LED bulb to the front of it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that and how I did that in case you're interested later on in the video. But it's kind of interesting to have, you know, a couple representatives of the same style, same group, if you will. And like I mentioned, I have one more, and maybe I'll just grab that real quick, and we can take a look at a real late example. And like I said, this one doesn't even have a number on it. All right, let's see if I can get all three of these. There we go. So the lead example there, and I decided to space them this way because to me it's fascinating. These tenders behind the first and the second engine are actually legitimate. The first one and the one farthest up has Milwaukee Road. I don't know that I have any other tenders that are Milwaukee Road, but that's actually one of the variation of the tenders. You can see sintered iron wheels, working knuckle coupler, and then this one from 58 has a Northwestern. Again, that's legitimate according to Doyle. And so these are identical tenders aside from the different name on the top. And again, this one has no pinstriping on plastic drive wheels, has smoke and choo-choo, two-step reverse unit. And like I said, doesn't have any number on the side, doesn't have any date stamped inside. It is anonymous, but it's just fascinating to see kind of the progression of what Flyer was going through as it kind of moved away from this style here, which, like I said, still had cast metal drivers. And I mean, this is a basic engine, but it's got some heft to it. It seems like it's got some real quality to it. It pulls really well, and it just, you know, it's kind of what you're used to with Flyer. But this one starts getting into more of the cheaper style of Flyer in terms of the plastic drive wheels. And like I said, it's got all kinds of problems. The one up front, that one seems to run a lot better than this back one here. But again, you know, it's just missing details. And that, you know. I'm going to try something. I've got a burned out headlight bulb in this 21085 that I'm refurbishing for my own uses out of my collection. One of these to-do projects that's been around for too long. And I think what I'm going to do is take the burned out bulb. I'm going to remove the glass and the innards here, and I'm going to wire up a directional LED. And then when well, shucks, though, if I screw that in, it may not face the right direction. That's a problem with that idea. Okay, well, then probably what I will do is heat up some hot glue and just glue this thing on here, sticking straight up. And Then once I've got that done, I'll just shorten the wires up and solder. That way, if someone down the road wants to put this back to LED or to incandescent bulb, it'll be real simple to do. So I'll bring you back once I've got this done. All right, so here is my handiwork. Like I said, I don't have to worry about it spinning the wrong direction. My hot glue is maybe not the cleanest job ever, but I think this will work. So let's go ahead. I'll get it stuck in here, and then we'll fire it up and see how it looks. All right, here we're back. Let's see how this looks. Hey, all right. Okay, I think that's going to work good. One thing that I found was interesting is the bulb diameter actually helps keep the base away from the front of the smoke unit. That's something I didn't realize. So I actually had to put a piece of black electrical tape between the front of the smoke unit and the bulb base, because its natural tendency was to kind of lean towards the smoke unit, which caused a short. So food for thought: if you do one of these, you're going to want to put some sort of a barrier, electrical barrier, between the bulb base and the smoke unit.